Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Politics with Flo. I am your host, Flo, and today's session is a late night session. I normally don't do sessions this late, but it is a weekday, and I do want to talk about this because it is a current event and things have been happening now for the last 3 days. And this is something that is very dear to me, something that is close to me because, as somebody who has done this before in the past, I can totally relate to what's going on, right? So about, I want to say almost 20 years ago, I was a participant in somebody's protest. And, I wanted to get my thoughts on it because people have been asking, what do you think? What do you think people should be doing? What do you think is the correct way to protest, right? So I do have my thoughts, and this is going to be another short video. Like always, I want to make them quick. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. But like I said, I will be giving you my thoughts, right? So first things first is I don't have an issue with people protesting. I don't have an issue with people going out and exercising their freedom of speech. Completely understand why people are doing it, right? My only issue is how you decide to present that information, that protest, and what you're talking about. That is my only issue, right? So these are some of my critiques that I have based on what I've seen on social media, based on what I've heard on, just all over the place. So first thing that I've noticed is, and, you can have your own opinion about this, but essentially most of these folks who are going out there, I would say the majority of them, if I had to take a guess, are probably citizens, right? And it's good to see citizens going out there and just being able to exercise their rights. But what I've noticed is that a lot of these folks are waving Mexican flags. And again, that's fine. You can wave any flag you want. I'm not here to say you should be patriotic or anything like that. I mean, if you want to, you can, right? But if you're going to be fighting for the right to stay in this country and you're going to be going out there with Mexico #1 signs or Central America, whatever you're waving, that is just counterproductive to your movement. And it really makes no sense to go out there and say that your country is #1. First of all, a lot of these folks are not from the country. Yes, you are a descendant of these countries, but you were not born there. And it almost feels like folks are going out there and celebrating a soccer win. That's what I've seen, like whenever there is soccer victories in Mexico in particular, you see that kind of behavior. And that is, to me, something that I've noticed, right? Now, you don't have to wave an American flag per se. Again, that is your right to do whatever you want. But it just does not look productive for me personally. And I'm saying this to you because I've been out there, not this time around, but when I did something similar about 20 years ago in my youth, right? I always made sure that I carried both flags. As a Mexican American, as a Chicano, I knew that for me, that was going to be more of an impactful message if I carried both flags, because especially if we're fighting for folks who want to come here to this country and want to live here, not necessarily assimilate completely, because I know a lot of folks don't do that, but at least acculturate to the country. And if you want to stay here, I think it's important, right, to make that distinction that, yes, I am an immigrant. Yes, I am not from this country. Yes, my culture is different from the dominant culture here in the U.S., but I belong here like everybody else, right? If that is the argument you want to make, then you should probably carry an American flag. And that's what I've seen. That, man, at least the stuff that I saw, I didn't see too much, but all the TikTok lives that I was watching, all the IG lives that I was seeing, that is what I noticed, that folks were not carrying the American flag. And again, I'm not here to tell you to be patriotic. I'm not here to say that you should be doing any of that stuff. But again, if you want to be in this country, I think it's important to state that, because otherwise you're saying that the country you come from is better than the country you came to. And it doesn't make any sense if that's what you're saying because you want to stay here, right? I mean, to me, it just really does not make any sense to make that point. And secondly, what I noticed too is, some of these folks are going into freeways, into areas that were not part of the destination, I guess. And not only is that dangerous and stupid, but, what is your point when you do this? What are you trying to prove? Stopping folks in the middle of traffic, like, what are you trying to, I mean, I get it. Maybe you want to send a message, but no, man, like that's how you do it. You have to be very, very strategic. And I believe that whoever did that didn't think about it, didn't necessarily have an idea or a plan. And all it takes is one person to do it. And before you know it, monkey see, monkey do. So I did see that again on these TikTok lives, in these IG lives and news. How folks were just, didn't have a direction. And again, I didn't really understand if I'm an outsider, right? If I'm looking at these protests as an outsider and trying to analyze it as an outsider, I did not see the message being, how do I say it? There was no clear message. I didn't understand what people were doing, right? If I'm seeing people waving Mexican flags and Central American flags and just disrupting the freeway, what are you doing? Like, what is your purpose, right? So that is the second critique of these protests. And then lastly, of course, you're always going to have people rioting. You're always going to have people doing stupid things. Didn't see this too much, but I did see a couple of, folks just jumping on cop cars and things of that nature. And again, what is your point? What are you trying to do? If you're trying to convey the message that we belong in this country, these three things that you did, they don't help it. They do not help the cause at all. And again, I'm telling you this because I've been in protest. It's been a while, obviously. I don't do those anymore because I truly believe that protests are for the youth or for folks who don't have any kind of financial or any kind of political power in this country. And it's really the language of the voiceless, right? So for the most part, yes, a protest for me, from my experience in protest, it really feels like a big venting session a lot of these times. And maybe that's what that was, right? Maybe folks felt the need to express, yes, I'm Mexican. I don't feel ashamed of being Mexican, and I understand that. You should not feel ashamed of being anything that you are. But again, if you want to be here, you have to pay respect to the country, whether you like the flag or not, whether you like the powers that are here today. It just makes zero sense to say, I want to come here and then want to fuck shit up here. To me, it just makes zero sense to do that. So, those are my critiques on that. Again, because I've been in these spaces, and every time that I was involved in any kind of protesting, we understood what we were doing. I believe so, right? We were not perfect, we were young. And I'll say this, the youth, I get it, unless somebody is really teaching you the ways and letting you know what you're supposed to be doing, I'll excuse that. But if I'm seeing 30 and 40-year-olds doing this, like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? What is your point, right? And, it happened now for 3 days in a row, at least here in LA. And I think I do like the boycotting of, like, not going to school, not going to work. That makes sense, right? That makes sense. I have no critique over that. However, if you're going to be doing that, you're supposed to stay home the entire day, not shop. I had somebody telling me that they were being critiqued because they went to work, yet this person went to KFC and throw a whole barbecue at their place. No, man, that's not the way it works. That's the way a boycott works. So, I believe that people have the right intentions, and I think I understand folks are frustrated with the situation, but they're also ill-informed. And because of this, we have what we have. Luckily, nothing too crazy happened. We don't have any looting or rioting or nothing like that. But, just wanted to give my thoughts because people have asked me, what do you think about these protests? What do you think people should be doing? I personally believe that, again, if you're young, it is a big venting session. As long as you behave accordingly and don't act like a buffoon, then that's fine. But the best way to protest, and even as an adult, is through boycotting, right? Things that you don't support. But that also requires a lot of research because you can't boycott things and then go support a big corporation and say, oh yeah, I went to go protest and then went to McDonald's right after. That makes no sense to do that, right? So, I apologize for the raspiness of my voice. I'm a little tired. Like I said, it is a Tuesday night. It's 10:58, late on my end. Usually asleep by this time, so I'm a little tired. But I did want to talk about this. I did want to bring this up, and those are my thoughts. If you don't agree, go ahead and comment, or if you agree, do the same thing, comment. But until the next one, this is Flo. Peace out.